I'm Mark Magennis. I'm from NCBI, working for people with sight loss, the national agency for people with sight loss in Ireland. I'm the director of the Centre for Inclusive Technology there. I'm here with my co-presenter Dane Chan, who's a third-year software engineering student in Dublin City University. And we're going to be talking about and demonstrating this new peer support community called DigiPlace4all. So just briefly, DigiPlace4all is an online community of peer support for people with disabilities to build digital skills, the kind of skills that are necessary for them to transition from their initial digital skills training that they'll get in VET centres like NCBI, for example, have, into building the skills that they require to go into mainstream education and employment. It's very much about allowing them, facilitating them in developing one-to-one peer support relationships between each other. Because what we've found, and other people who run VET centre training find, is that peer support relationships naturally arise among students, particularly the students when they're coming to the end of their, maybe a 10-week course. Then they'll start supporting the students who are coming into the next course. It often happens, and it's really necessary, particularly for digital skills building, because what we're finding is, whereas previously there was a much narrower range of things that you had to teach people, now everybody is using technology, and so much technology, and so many purposes, social, work, retail, whatever. The demand for digital skills training is outstripping the ability of VET centres to provide that. So people are naturally having to build their knowledge from their peers by sharing information and helping each other. And people with disabilities have a particular, I'd say difficulties, but it's more kind of, I suppose, barriers and challenges around that. Because if you, for instance, are a blind person who uses a screen reader to access Facebook, or maybe you don't access Facebook and you want to know how to access Facebook, it's no good asking a sighted person, because they'll say, well, you click the button in the top right-hand corner, and they don't know. You have to ask somebody who knows how to do it using a screen reader. Right? So that's your peer. So just to go on the who is DigiPlace4all for? It's for students with disabilities, chiefly. It's also for educators and employers, because they need to support each other as well. If they're going to make educational environments and workplaces accessible and inclusive, they need to learn from each other as well. And some of them have done things and had successes, and they want to pass that on to other people who want to achieve the same successes. So how does it help? Like I said, it's about peer support and information sharing. Students with disabilities build digital skills, and educators and employers learn how to make their workplaces and environments inclusive. So the best thing I can do, rather than just talk about it, is to demonstrate it. So hopefully this will work. This is the DigiPlace4all homepage, and basically there are introductory videos at the top, which we won't go into. And then there's these 4 areas at the bottom, which are get and give get and give one-to-one support, create and share, and then there's an education section and an employment section. So I'll very briefly go through some of this, and Dane will then talk about how he would like to use it, and he'll demonstrate it using it himself. So this is the get and give one-to-one support section, which has a way for you to make a request or offer of support. So you've got supports like this. I need help using an iPad with the switch. Somebody has posted this, and we'll see. I think Dana will demonstrate how you post requests and offers. So you've got this this request. Is a bit like almost like a dating site. This is me. This is what I need. This is what I'm looking for. I'd like to meet somebody who can help me. If I can help this person, I can click the button, offer support to this person, and that will spark off this one-to-one relationship. Similarly, I could make a peer support offer instead, so I can give this kind of assistance. right? And then you've got a number of other things. Now, moving swiftly along, because I don't want to spend too long demonstrating this, another aspect of this is digital champions. The idea is champions are people, ultimately this community is going to have to be run by the people who are part of the community, and those will be the champions, the people who take this idea and say, look, I think this is really great, I want to introduce other people to it, I want to tell everybody about it. So past this funded project, which is a 2-year project, we hope our digital champions will maintain the community. So anybody can become a champion, you just have to apply. There is, here is a section about what a champion is, has roles and responsibilities, etc. There's a tab here with if you become a champion, you'll go up there, and Dane there you see is a champion, I'm a champion, and there are other champions as well. So all the champions are listed here, and it has a little bit of biography about them and about what area they champion in. And if you want to become a champion, you go here, and this is a web form where or you could propose somebody else. If you know somebody you think would be a really good champion in this area, you can say, okay, this, and then the people who moderate the community will get that, and they'll contact the person or contact you and go through this process of verifying that you are serious about being a champion, and then they'll make you a champion. Just to briefly go through the other aspect of it, as well as creating these one-to-one peer support relationships, the website gives various ways of sharing information. So if we go into this create and share section here, we've got a number of topical, they're basically public blogs, and I'll tell you why they're public blogs later. But there's various categories, so you could say funding sources. Right? And this is just little snippets. Somebody heard about a funding source and they think they want to tell everybody about it. So they write a little bit. I mean, they could write one sentence, they could write a few paragraphs, whatever. You can comment on these things. I'm afraid that the text isn't very big, but that's what I've got here. But it's basically, they're just like little blog articles. You can comment on them, start a discussion around them, etc. And if you want to add a new one, then you just click on that and you get a form for entering. Oh gosh, page not found. Oh dear, that must be a server problem or something. But normally you get a form for entering the blog article. So that's as much as I want or can in the time tell you about that. So perhaps I'd like to hand over to Dane now, and Dane will tell you a little bit about his experiences. Can we use this? Is that possible, or is that better? Dane will tell you a little bit about his experience, what brought him here, why he would like to use DigiPlace4all, and he's going to demonstrate it using his screen reader. So I wonder if you speak, can they hear you, Dane?
Yeah. Wait,
I'm just wondering if the microphone's close enough to you.
Is it?
Do you want to stand up? Or?
Oh, yeah, I can stand up.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Would I move forward a bit? Over here?
Yeah.
There's a speaker here, is it?
Oh, it's just here. The speaker's actually right in front of you, so we're fine.
Over here, is it?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dane Chan. I'm a third-year student in DCU. Welcome to today's talk about DigiPlace4all. I suppose as a third-level student in college, I found sometimes, it's very hard to access the material, and then some programming languages that you may not seen before, and then probably you won't get quicker learn the skills that when you're in third-level college. So it will be easy if you have this DigiPlace4all account set up that allows you to share, to request help if you encounter any sort of any of the problems that you encounter in third-level college. So I already opened a page DigiPlace4all. Probably, I think there's a text shown on the board here.
Okay, I'll hold this microphone for you.
Sorry.
You'll be
Okay.
fine. Or you can hold it. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I have the page open, and it's called DigiPlace4all. Now, before I'm going to demonstrate how to use the page, the version, the version of the browser that I use is called Internet Explorer 11, and then with the screen reader JAWS 14. So before you can get and request one-to-one support, you need to sign up. So there's a very list items in this page. First of all, you want to go into register yourself by clicking on login. There's a login. So there's a login link here to allow you to register yourself. Sorry, I tried to slow down the speed. Yeah, probably too fast for you. Sorry.
Login visited link. List ends. Visited link login.
I think it's much slower. Sorry for that. So, let's talk a bit. As Mark just explained, there are 4 separators here, which is the get and give one-to-one support, and then you can create or share your story, and then you can give support in education and give support in employment. So I'm going to demonstrate to you how to use the page here by going to
visited link logout. Visited list end.
Sorry, Mark, can you hold on?
I'll hold that. Yeah.
So, first of all, you need to register yourself. Already register and open my account here. So, I will try to offer my skills to someone. So, by going to
JAWS links list dial G get and give 1-1 support logo.
So there's a link here, it's open, called Get and Give Support one-to-one support, and click enter in there.
Get and give 1-1 support logo visited link graphic.
Just wait. So,
Get and give 1-1 support vertical.
so once the page is changed, then you see a couple of tab menu here. It's called Requests,
Peer support request tab.
Peer Support Requests.
Peer support offers tab.
So you get offer,
Sharing stories tab.
the story if you want to share your story.
My request and offers tab.
So your request, that you can view your request over there. So let's go straight away to the create your offer.
JAWS links list M my messages. M my profile. M make a request or offer of support.
So there's a link called here, make a request and offer to the peer one-to-one support here. Just go ahead and click on this.
Enter. Make a request or offer of support visited link. Please describe what you need or what you can provide. Star edit contains text. Home
Okay.
visited link. RSS feeds. 5.
The screen reader straight away bring you to there's a few edit box that you can allow you to put in the sentence here. So the first one you're going to do is,
1 sentence summary. Star edit 1 sentence.
So-
1 sentence.
so this is the box. You need to put give brief description of your offer to the person. So type in whatever offer you want to make, and then
1 sentence summary.
when you finish this,
Please describe what you need. Blank. Suggestion : include information of abilities or disabilities you have.
so once you give a description of the offer, and then you can move on to set up the length of time you want to support, maybe for a week, up to a week, or over a week.
For how long will support be needed or provided? Star.
So you can do that.
Radio but one
There's
radio.
a few buttons that you can check on that.
4 up to a week. Radio button 4 up to a.
After that, there's a few type of methods communication that you can allow people can contact with you by sending email if you like.
Radio button not checked for 2 months or longer. For 2 months or support meetings by email : star.
So by support by email.
Radio button
you
not checked.
like.
Yes. Yes. Radio button not checked. No. No. Support meetings face to face.
So some other people like face-to-face to communicate and get help. And also you can do so by selecting yes, and then move on by contacting by mobile phone or other setup of communication that you prefer, like Skype or Facebook. Okay. Once you finish all these selection, and then you put,
Submit button.
there's a submit button here to allow you to submit the one that you just made to the page.
List submit button. Enter. Yes, yes, no, no, radio.
So once you submit the page, the message will be appear on the screen that whoever come across to the request page, they want to offer you, they can just simply click offer to this person, and then you can start from there on. So please visit DigiPlace4all. If you have a skill or experience that you want to share with others, this is the best place to go. Thanks.
Yes, radio.
Thanks, Dane. That was great. That hopefully gives you a good flavour of what it's actually about. So just to talk a little bit about where it came from and that kind of thing, and what's in it for you. I mean, we've heard what's in it for students with disabilities. Dane thinks this is a great kind of place for himself and people like himself to support each other. But if you're an educator or if you're in a disability organisation, you want to make education inclusive. That's why you come to this conference, isn't it? Because that's what it's all about. And you need a place to share experiences, and this conference is a great place, but you need online places as well. So this is an online place. You can peer support each other in building your own experience and skills and sharing. And you could do things like, for instance, you can publicize events, you can upload videos, podcasts, or whatever, things that are relevant, information that's relevant to you, your peers, or your users or students. So just briefly, where does DigiPlace4all come from? It was created by a European-funded project called DICE, funded under the Lifelong Learning Project. DICE stands for Digital Inclusion Champions in Europe. It's currently running, there's what you've just seen as the Irish DigiPlace4all community. That same thing is mirrored in 3 other countries, in Belgium, Poland and Bulgaria, and of course it's in their own language, and the interface is in their own language. We also want to export it during the project to at least 1 other country. So if you're from a country other than Ireland, Belgium, Poland, or Bulgaria, and you think you would like to have a DigiPlace4all yourself, then that you should come to us and talk to us, and we'll get the ball rolling on how you would set that up. In fact, we would do most of the setting up because it's just creating a new language version, basically. So just to give a little bit about how this came about, we did a big requirements gathering exercise, obviously with people with disabilities, but we also talked to VET centres, trainers, educators, employers, NGOs, policy advisors, etc. There was 241 questionnaires, 91 people took part in focus groups, and 85 were interviewed in person. Obviously, that kind of requirements gathering, I can't tell you all the results. I have about half a minute to do this. So just to give you 2 examples of the kind of thing that came out. People said they want up-to-date information from their peers. Now, we already knew this was going to be about peer support, but what we were doing is we were transferring information from an earlier effort called Gateway to AT, which was a website that was produced by Enable Ireland and IADT, amongst others. And that had a lot of static information, but it had information from experts, so it had an introduction to this type of assistive technology, and it's very much an expert, everything, the basic information you need about this type of AT. People said they didn't actually want that because it very quickly goes out of date. They wanted little snippets of information from people like themselves saying, look, I just found this app, I think it's really cool, it does this, try it, that kind of thing. They wanted to link to other resources out there because they know everybody knows there's so much out there, but it's difficult to find it. So they want their peers to tell them, look, I just found something, here it is, and not reproduce it, but just link to it. That's why we chose to have these public blogs. We were originally going to have a lot of static content on the site, but we've ended up having nearly all the content is dynamic and is written by the contributors, and it's written in public blogs, so anybody can post anything they like. Now, there is moderation, of course, it has to be controlled, but it's public blogs with comments, facilities to create discussion. There's also forums as well, which I haven't gone into, but that's just another way of discussing. People also said they wanted postings to be anonymous. They didn't want to have to register and say, this is who I am, but they wanted relationships to be private. Peer support relationships had to be private. Very, very important. People didn't want to actually have to say, I am, this is my identification, and this is the kind of peer support relationship I'm having with somebody. So we have these postings which are anonymous, but we also, obviously, we have to have rules and guidance and moderation around this. So there is a layer of that, and we very much encourage reporting. So if anybody starts up a peer support relationship through the site, they're encouraged to feed back, and there is a tab about, my experiences, where people are encouraged to share their experiences, because that encourages other people as well. When you hear, I got a lot out of this, then people who are a bit tentative maybe will think, oh, that sounds good, I might try that myself. So we're currently, we've built this website, it's ready to use, it's just ready to use. We've got very little people have actually started using it. Dana and some others have started, but it's really this week that we're actually starting people, so it's new in that sense. Currently in Ireland, we've done a lot of community building. We've got 67 people who said they are interested in offering peer support. With 24 people said they would like to contribute blog content, and 36 would like to become champions. So we've got these people waiting in the wings, and now we're going to bring them on board, similarly in the other 3 countries. So what now? Where are we now? Well, I did say we want to transfer this to one other country as well, so there's that. But basically, even within Ireland, what we would like to do is build this community, which means people like yourselves who have access to students and service users. We want you to start introducing them to this community. Getting them to make requests, maybe make offers, post information and share stories and things like that. So that's basically where we are with it. If you are interested in getting involved and in getting your students, your service users involved, then please come and talk to me after the conference, which ends about now. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, both of you. That was, again, really, really interesting and inspiring. So have we got any questions from the floor for either Dane or Mark? One right at the back.
Hello, my name is Lorraine and I work for Ahead. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate Dane. We met a few years ago when you were first in the NCBI. I came out to do a presentation on accessing college, and I'm delighted to see that you're now in your 3rd year. So I know somewhere down the line my job actually works, so it's great to see a success story. The other thing I'd like to ask is if it's okay if in Ahead that we start posting it around, because we have a blog, we have Get Ahead, and we have a Facebook and a Twitter account, so we would be happy enough to, to start to disseminate the information if that's possible.
Oh, that's perfectly possible. Yeah, that's what we want. Thank you. I'll talk to you later about that.
Any more? Down in the front. Making you run, Angela. That's a bit unfair. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. My question would be around the moderation you mentioned shortly. What is the role of the moderation and the goal of it, and what's the extent what it moderates?
Okay, well, the goal of moderation is firstly to stop inappropriate content ending up on the site. It's also, there's a goal in tidying up content so that it's presented well, a little bit of an editorial role there. The moderators also are the way requests to become champions or proposals for other people to be champions come through to the as yet undecided body that is going to do the approval process. All this is being worked out at the moment. At the moment, it's the project partners are doing it themselves. They are the moderators, the people who agree to appoint champions, that kind of thing. We have the beginnings of a process of how this is going to turn it into a community board, for example. That's probably going to take 2 or 3 years with our kind of hand-holding to create that level of self-moderation. Ultimately, we want this to be self-sustaining and self-moderating, and the champions will be a key role in that. I don't know if that does answer your question.
It does. It does. Just I was wondering if there is, if the moderator or moderation plays a role, some kind of supervision of the information provided, because, of course, and it is understandable that these, let's say, community channels quite often are the resource of the misinformation or not complete information or misunderstandings. It is normal. And my question was if the moderation supervising this or not.
It is. I mean, what you're saying is almost on the brink of going into this whole area of the potential for online abuse and that kind of thing, which we're very aware of. It's very difficult to really kind of put a complete lid on that. And ultimately, at some point, if somebody wants to enter into a peer support relationship, they get advice and guidelines. It's not rules, because how can you imply? And because people wanted these relationships to be private, they're even private to us. So in that sense, we can't police it. So what we're suggesting is that if organisations like NCBI, for instance, who I work for, they will introduce their service users who come for training to DigiPlace4all. And it's those people, it's the same as when they introduce them to Facebook and things like that. Depending on who they are and what experiences they have already online, the trainer has an obligation to point out the possible perils of being online. And it's exactly the same for DigiPlace4all. We can't get rid of all those possible perils.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark? Dane, thank you very, very, very much.